How's it going, y'all? Right now I'm at the Como Pavilion. Right in front of me here is Como Lake, and that's because today's video is a virtual tour of Como St. Paul. It's a pretty dope neighborhood. All right, let's get into it. How's it going, friends? My name is Jesse Lynch. Right now I'm in front of the Minnesota Fairgrounds, but I run a real estate team here in the Twin Cities. We are the hardest working real estate team anywhere in the world. I'm a little biased, but we are called To the Twin Cities. Anyways, this YouTube channel is all about helping you find a place to land here in the Twin Cities, a place to call home. And that's whether you're moving here from out of state or buying a house for the first time. Whatever it is, we got you. So if either of those two things appeal to you, do us both a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give this video a thumbs up, and say what's up in the comments. This is Snelling. It's probably one of the busiest streets in all of St. Paul, so I apologize for the noise. Right over here is the Minnesota State Fairgrounds, and right over there is Como St. Paul, one of the best neighborhoods in all of the Twin Cities. I'm excited to show you around. Whew, kind of a humid day out, and it's windy, it's noisy, it's a little bit warm, but it's beautiful. All right, let's go for a ride. I'm gonna say this right now. I'm probably gonna say it a bunch more times during this video, but that lake and the recreation of the Como Park area is what all within the Como neighborhood are. Como Lake, there's the Como Golf Course, there's the Como Lakeside Pavilion. There are many, many sort of open fields, actually kind of like the one I'm in right now. Just a great park space to, you know, whatever, have a picnic, play frisbee, play catch, play a little bit of football, whatever you want to do. You get the idea. But even beyond that, it's a very walkable, very bikeable neighborhood, but not in the way that you can walk to a bunch of stores or a bunch of trendy restaurants or whatever. There are not that many of those in this neighborhood. Anyways, within Como, there's also a pool, a municipal pool, and there is also the Como Zoo, one of only 2 zoos in the entire Twin Cities metro area. As far as Como's borders, it's pretty simple with sort of one exception. To the north is Larpenteur, to the east is Dale, to the south is right here, basically, right along the southern edge of the lake. That is the southern border of the Como neighborhood. It gets a little funny. But then to the west is Snelling, and then the State Fairgrounds. Como is a great neighborhood because it is close to both downtowns. You can get to downtown St. Paul in maybe 12 minutes. You can get to downtown Minneapolis in maybe 15 minutes. If you have to get to the airport or the Mall of America, you're gonna have to kind of go all the way around. It's kind of on the northern edge, whereas those are just on the southern edge of the city. So you're talking 25 minutes, maybe a half an hour to the airport or the Mall of America. The main streets that you're gonna be using to get here are Snelling Avenue. That's like the biggest one. That goes all the way from, you know, like the Highland Park neighborhood, and then it cuts all the way through Matt Groveland, crosses 94, and then all the way up, you know, well past the Snelling area into Roseville, passes by the first Target ever. Anyways, Snelling is like a pretty main road in St. Paul. It's probably the most popular one that would serve the Como neighborhood. And then the next would be just a little bit east of that, and that would be Larpenteur Ave. It is a pretty unique neighborhood in that a bunch of the roads that run east and west don't go all the way through because of this park. You might be on one of the main roads in one of the other neighborhoods adjacent to Como, and it's a through street, and then it just runs into the park and you have to go around it. But I think the one benefit of that is that there's not as much through traffic, so Como remains a quieter neighborhood. Como has a population of around 17,000 people, which is pretty big for what is a relatively small footprint, and it's definitely a very desirable neighborhood. According to niche.com, it is #1, the best neighborhood out of 17 to buy a home in St. Paul. Not exactly sure what computations they're running on it, but I could buy that, no pun intended. And it's voted 5th best neighborhood to live in St. Paul. My opinion is that it's higher up on that list. One thing that I would say maybe drags it down a little bit compared to maybe Highland Park, maybe McGroveland, is that the schools they're fine. They're not gonna be the best in the state or the best in the Twin Cities. They get a B- on niche.com. But one thing that they do excel at is diversity. Como schools, which primarily, by the way, is Como High School and Como Elementary School. All right, John, my GoPro battery died. What I was saying is the schools here in Como are ranked the 3rd most diverse in all of the Twin Cities out of 367 schools. And that's out of 367 categories. Primarily, there are 2 schools that service the area, and that is Como Park Senior High School and Como Park Elementary School. I'm gonna kick over here into these neighborhoods, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the housing here in Como. All right, let's do it. Right now I am on Como Boulevard. I'm going to show you right here. Como Lake Drive is right down there. But yeah, Como Boulevard. There's really no houses on Como Lake Drive. It just circles the lake. And actually right now it's shut down. I think ever since COVID, it's just been blocked off. And I don't know, I think that's ultimately just to allow for more people walking. Because of COVID, a lot of people are walking around lakes and enjoying the outdoors. But anyways, this is an example of one of the nicer neighborhoods. Obviously, it has lake views. It's gonna be very, very nice. And so, but I wanna give you some kind of an idea of the houses that you're gonna see in the nicer neighborhoods. And then a little bit later, I'm gonna go to a more moderately priced neighborhood. But for the most part, the median single family home price here in the Como neighborhood is actually cheaper than the Twin Cities average. The Twin Cities average is right around 330, and the average for Como is right around 290. That's going up, but it is, you know, pretty consistently just below the average of the Twin Cities as a whole. And I think that is largely due to how many sort of modestly sized homes there are. And there is a sort of a larger population of renters for a long time, but that is not the case quite as much anymore. More and more of these homes are being bought up and renovated. And so that number, that average or median number, is going up for sure. As we speak today on the market, I mean, in fairness, it's a Tuesday. It's not a very good day for listings. There's only a handful of listings on the market in the Como neighborhood. I expect by the weekend, there might be 10, maybe 15 if you're lucky. And currently those houses range from $285,000 up to $375,000, which probably means realistically, you're gonna get houses here from $300,000 probably up to $450 for the most part, and then there's gonna be some outliers that are gonna creep up of that, but you might have to have something like lake frontage, lake view, park frontage, something like that to get a whole lot higher than that. Legally, I'm not allowed to say that, you know, a family should live here or whatever, but according to niche.com, Como gets an A+ for family friendly. It gets an A- for outdoor activities, which is actually kind of shocking considering, I don't know, maybe a third of the whole neighborhood is a park, but you know, you can't go skiing here or something. And then it gets an A+ for safety, according to niche.com. I love this neighborhood. This is a neighborhood that when I have showings here, I'm always excited. I love the homes. This house right here, super cute. You're gonna get these very, very cute houses here, and I'm just all about it. And so I hope you wanna move here because I like looking here. And this view and the park and all the green space, pretty hard to argue with. All right, let's go for a ride, huh? All right, y'all, right now I'm at the Como Conservatory, and I mean, it's all part of Como Park, Como Conservatory, Como Zoo. It's basically like one giant piece of land within St. Paul. It's beautiful. The conservatory, particularly beautiful. I've taken photos there like a handful of times, and it's just always so cool. Just very lush, very green. The one downside is that it's super humid in there. But all right, right now we're gonna talk pros and cons of living in Como. And first pro is this park. Okay, if it wasn't for Como Park, Como wouldn't be particularly fascinating, but this park is what it's all about. Living here, it's one of the best parks in all of the Twin Cities, certainly one of the best parks in St. Paul. It's great. Another piece that makes Como great is that it has relatively safe crime statistics, right? As far as the city of St. Paul goes, Como is on the safer end statistically. But then that sort of leads into the last pro, which is that Como, while not really being full of conveniences, it's very close to conveniences. You can take Snelling into Roseville. You can go to the first Target ever, the Rosedale Mall, but you can also take Snelling, you know, just south, and you can get to University and the light rail and the Allianz Field, which is the MLS team, local Major League Soccer team stadium here, and that's more in like the Midtown area. And that kind of leads to the cons. One of the cons would be that there's not a ton of conveniences, right? You can't necessarily like walk to get groceries, or there's gonna be some like coffee shops and restaurants and stuff, but that's not what it's about here. It's about this park, and it's about houses and like cute houses and neighborhoods, right? It's not about those conveniences. And while being close to the state park might seem like a pro to you, there is sort of a con attached to it, which is that during the state fair, it is bananas. It is so busy here. So if you were to live on Snelling, like right across from the state fair, it would probably get pretty old. People will rent out their yards for people to park in, but there is such a demand for parking that people will pay just to park their car on your driveway. So I guess maybe that's a mini pro. Another con that I've been running into as I'm shooting this, probably the first like hot Saturday in, I don't know, since winter, since last year, is that this park, while it's beautiful, it is very, very busy. And I mean, it's got a zoo, right? So it's like the only zoo in the city proper. There is the Minnesota Zoo, which I would say is a better zoo. If I'm being honest, zoos in general bum me out a little bit. But anyways, Como Zoo, people come from all over the Twin Cities to hang out at this park, at this conservatory, at the zoo. And there's also like, in the zoo, there's like a little sort of like mini amusement park, but it is like definitely a destination for people from all over the metro area. And then the last con that I can really think of, and that's if I'm kind of reaching for stuff, is that the park kind of makes it hard to get through the cities. Like you have to basically kind of pick a side. Are you on the west side of the park or on the east side of the park? And if you want to get to, you know, either side of the park from the other, you either have to like go through the park or go around it. But all right, I'm getting sweaty, and I'm gonna show you around a little bit more here. Friends, right now I'm just in what I think is a pretty good example of like a more modest neighborhood here in Como. Houses are probably gonna be listed around the $300,000 mark here, and it's generally like pretty affordable. That does mean that they might sell up closer to $350 potentially, but nonetheless still a pretty affordable place as far as the metro goes, especially for everything that you get here. I'm gonna do a quick run through of what I call my for fans of section. And that's basically, if you like this neighborhood, then here's a few others that you might want to check out. Or I guess could be the inverse. Maybe you've been to some of these other neighborhoods and you're like, well, I don't know, it's a little scary. What does it actually feel like? A few spots that might be a good choice if you are into this neighborhood and you maybe want to check out some other spots. I don't have virtual tours on all of these yet, but I am working on that. And so number one, I'm going to say is McAllister Groveland, aka Mac Groveland. I do have a virtual tour on that. Number two, I'm going to say is the Summit Hill neighborhood. Three would be Merriam Park, which I don't really have. That's just north of the McAllister Groveland area. They feel very, very similar. So watch the Mac Groveland neighborhood video if you are interested. But then on the Minneapolis side of things, I'm going to say the first one would be Nokomis, which I definitely do have a video on. Second is going to be Longfellow, for which I have a neighborhood tour coming up. I think the next one, the one right after this, will be Longfellow. And if maybe you have a higher budget, you might want to check out Southwest Minneapolis. And then as far as proximity to here, maybe you want to be close to Como Lake, Como Park and all that. A couple suburbs you could check out. First one would be Falcon Heights. This basically just bleeds right into Falcon Heights. I can't really tell when the change happens, but Falcon Heights is going to be a first ring suburb. It's going to have older homes built in the 40s, 50s, 60s, that kind of thing. And my GoPro died again. I kind of knew it would, but oh well, I'm almost done. If you're considering making a move here to the Twin Cities, I say this every time, but I mean it every time. Do yourself a favor and hit us up. Go to tothetwincities.com. You can email us at info@tothetwincities.com. You can call or text the number on the screen. It is not hyperbole or an exaggeration when I say that people reach out to us every day, and I truly mean it when I say that we look forward to helping you. We have this whole thing down, helping people from out of state and first-time home buyers, and also combination of those two things. We have this whole relocation thing down better than anybody else, and I promise if you get a hold of us, you won't be sorry. We will work our butts off for you. We will take very, very good care of you. All right, and as always, as you exit this video, if you haven't yet done so, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to get notified, give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate that personally, and say what's up in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the beautiful neighborhood of Como. Alex is calling me right now. All right, y'all, take it easy.